Funding for this edition of State of Affairs with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Fidelco Group, the New Jersey Education Association, PSEG Foundation, the Russell Berry Foundation, making a difference, New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, lighting the way to a clean energy future, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Holy Name, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, working for a healthier, more equitable New Jersey. And by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, moving the region through air, land, rail, and sea. Promotional support provided by CIANJ and Commerce Magazine. And by bestofnj.com, all New Jersey in one place.
Hey everyone, Steve Adubato. We kick off the program with the Executive Director of Gateway U, Saymah Nah. And Saymah, thank you so much for joining us.
Steve?
You can listen. We've been taping all day and it's like 2:30 in the afternoon, and this is the energy you're bringing. You're making my job easier. Tell everyone what Gateway U is and why it matters. The website will be put up right away.
Yeah, for sure. So in a nutshell, right, Gateway U is a degree pathway program. We partner with Southern New Hampshire University to provide our community degrees. And that's just, simply put. But I think the idea of Gateway U and our why is a much more complex picture, Steve.
Born and raised where?
Born and raised in the city of Newark. I'm from the Spires, the Garden Spires on First Street, near 280.
I know it well.
Yeah, Steve, I know you're a Newark native as well, so it's nice to be on the call with a fellow Newark native.
Hey, hold on. Before we talk more about Gateway U, isn't there something about those of us from Newark that's special, that makes everybody else envious? Just to confirm, just between us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're the best in the land. I mean, I wouldn't want to be from any other place. Like, what is California? What is San Diego? What is New York City? What is the Bronx?
They're jealous. They're jealous. But
jealous.
Now, help us understand. I'll stop goofing. All right, my producer's like, stop goofing off. Okay, we'll get back to Gateway U. Connect Gateway U to the city of Newark and the young people of Newark, please.
Sure, for sure. When I think about Gateway U, I think for me, as a child and as a college student, I believe if you worked hard enough, you would be granted the opportunity to go to college and get into your career of your dreams. And I think that has been the furthest from the truth, especially from the neighborhood that I'm from. Right. And as I started to grow, Steve, as an adult, and my mind started to develop and my thoughts started to become my own, right? My thoughts and my opinions started to become my own. And I was no longer regurgitating information. I started looking around and realizing that how many people around me were not afforded the same thing, regardless of how hard they worked. Right. And that always kind of stuck with me. Again, especially for the neighborhood that I'm from, right? When it comes to the conversation around tokenism and what that means, right? I realized that even if you worked hard, sometimes you just didn't have enough, right? It still wasn't enough. And, college is supposed to be a gateway for opportunities, but, college can also be a very hefty, expensive, unaffordable bill, right? And if we connect that to opportunities and we say college is supposed to be about opportunities, but it's a hefty bill, that means opportunities cost, right?
That's right.
And yeah. And sometimes, the price, I also want to stand right that the price isn't always about money. Sometimes the price is about privilege, right? The privilege of having the time to commit to your studies, the privilege of having the ability to sit in a physical classroom, right? And sometimes the cost is the knowledge and the wherewithal or the understanding to fill out your financial aid documents, right? Sometimes we don't have that. We don't have that privilege and we don't have that knowledge. And, you know, sometimes it's dollars, right? Sometimes it actually is money. And I guess like the point that I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to drive here is that whatever the cost, you know, opportunities cost something for our community. It costs something for Black and brown kids of Newark, right? And
But I'm sorry for interrupting, but I want to bring this back to Gateway U and also the teacher shortage in the state, because there's a shortage. You're trying to address it. Opportunity, expense, challenges. What exactly is Gateway U doing in the city of Newark, also doing across the country and other places, to address the teacher shortage?
Yeah, for sure. So we launched our teacher pathway program. And our teacher pathway program has 2 entry points. The first entry point is for teachers who need to be certified. So these are aspiring teachers who need to be certified. So we help them throughout the praxis to be able to gain support. The second piece, right, the second entry point is the people who need their degree, right? So there are people that have been in schools for years, your powers, your teacher assistants, that have been in front of our kids and teaching our kids for years, right? And haven't been able to move to the next step because there isn't a flexible option for them to be able to finish their degree in order to take the practice to become a certified teacher. So we help those 2 groups of people be able to move into the certified space.
Why do you care so much about this? Not just professionally, but personally.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. You know, this is my city, and I've been deeply connected, deeply rooted since the time that I can remember, right? I consider myself to be a very avid community servant to the city of Newark, from Big Brother, Big Sister, Junior NAACP, New Community, the list goes on. And I've
You were
seen,
tied to New Community Corporation, Reverend Linder, back in the day. You're too young for. Did you know who I'm talking about, Reverend Linder?
yes, Monsignor
Really?
Linder. I went to St. Rosalima on Orange Street.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. Extremely.
Oh, you're fine.
So bring it back, and bring it back also, if you could, Saymah, to the lack of representation in the classroom for students who are disproportionately Hispanic and Black, Black and brown students who do not see enough teachers who look like them.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think when we talk about representation in education, it's very important to go back to, you know, back to Brown versus the Board of Ed, right?
1954 Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm pretty sure we're probably all familiar with the intention of Brown versus Board of Ed, right? That the idea, right, was to get rid of separate but equal, but simply separate was not equal, right? We understood that, we able to know
Separate
that
is not equal.
right. And when we did that, you know, Black teachers and Black principals actually lost their job. That was the turning point, right? That was the turning point that we saw. And before Brown versus the Board of Ed, for those who don't know, the math was pretty simple. White teachers taught white children in white schools, and Black teachers taught Black children in Black schools. But after the Board of Ed, you know, integration cost Black teachers their jobs. They started to close Black schools and they started to bus Black children, right, into these schools. But they didn't take the teachers with them, right? They didn't take the teachers with them. And these teachers lost their jobs. So that was the turning point. So I think when we talk about representation, we got to talk a little bit about, you know, how did we actually get here, right? And how did we get to this point? And, you know, W.E.B. Du Bois also said, is my favorite, you know, of all time, that a slum is not a simple fact, right? It's a symptom. And the lack of Black teachers that we're experiencing right now is a symptom that we've been experiencing for decades. So when we think about, you know, what's happening in this space right now, we got to go a little bit back to figure out how we got here to be able to explain where we are. And the idea is to empower, and I usually hate the word empower because it means give people power, and people already have the power to do these things. But, right, these powers, these ATs, people have been in the schools for years that tend to be people of color and tend to be people from the community.
But they don't have the degree. They don't have their credentials.
Exactly, right?
Sam, I hate doing this, but the one thing I do not have power over is time. can you come back and pick up this conversation in greater depth? And I apologize for cutting you off like that.
No, for sure. I'm sorry that my questions might be long-winded.
No, that's what passion will do. I cannot thank you enough from one Newarker to another, and one who's definitely putting in the work and making a difference at Gateway U. Thank you so much. We'll have you back soon.
All right, Steve, thank you.
You got it. Take care. We'll be right back after this.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
I'm Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Since joining the NJEDA, I've been struck by the incredible assets and resources that New Jersey has to offer. The NJEDA is working every day to grow New Jersey's economy in a way that maximizes the values of those assets to benefit every single New Jersey resident. This includes more support for small businesses and a focus on reclaiming New Jersey's position as a leader in the innovation economy. Visit njeda.com to learn more about how NJEDA is building a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy.
We're honored to be joined by Dr. Arturo Osorio, who is Associate Professor of Entrepreneurship at the Rutgers School of Business and the Secretary of the Board at the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you, Arturo.
Good to see you, Steve.
We are going to put up the website for the Hispanic Chamber. We've had your CEO on, Carlos, talking about a whole range of important issues. I want to revisit some of them now. The Hispanic community and their representation in the business community, how prominent is the Hispanic business community?
Very good question. So if you were to take the Hispanic community in the US and put it in a ranking across the world, the Hispanic community will be about the 5th largest GDP of the world. In other words, if we're looking into, yes, the 5th. So if we're looking into the numbers, the Hispanic community in the US brings about 97 billion, that's billion with a B, $1 billion into the US economy. This is mostly because the large number of business and the youth of the community. So we're talking that across the US, we have about 140,000 Hispanic business contributing to the economy, providing access to products and services. In New Jersey alone, that number is about 20,000, I believe. The chamber represents 6,500, so it's a big number.
Let me follow up with this. As expansive as the Hispanic business community is, everyone involved in a business, particularly small business, but all business, our business, greatly affected by the pandemic. As we're doing this program, March of 2024 will represent 4 years into this global pandemic.
Yes.
How would you argue that, or what would you say the Hispanic business community's greatest challenges are from recovering, in the effort to recover from the pandemic, based on the incredibly difficult challenges they faced? Any different than the rest of us?
Very different in terms of how it connects and the type of challenges. So to recover, we need money. You need to buy materials, you need to bring back marketing, you need to connect people. So if I am a non-Hispanic business requesting a loan, let's go for a small business. We know the numbers. The small business is defined by the Small Business Administration of the US, so we're talking tiny numbers, $100,000. I am a non-Hispanic business looking for $100,000 in a loan. I have about 50% chance to get my loan. Same business, same amount of money. Now the face on the picture is Hispanic, 20% chance to get the loan. If we go, why? Because that's a very good question. There are multiple elements to it. Number one, the way that we present ourselves tend to be more shy. The way that we record the numbers sometimes is more difficult. We tend to be more cautious when we report. We tend to trust less and tend to work more in close-knit communities. That is for the inside part of it. On the outside part of it, there's discrimination. There is some intrinsic bias that we don't look at it. There are some problems that this has been also translated to artificial intelligence recordings. So if you are looking for people applying for loans or for jobs, and you remove the gender and the name of the person, so it becomes non-denominational in terms of ethnicity or gender, you are equally likely to get it. You apply gender, you apply name, names indicated city, you drop the chances.
Then, so you're saying gender, part of it, but if someone's name is Gonzalez versus Adubato or Jones, and the credentials are the same, the application is the same, the capital formation is the same. Finish that.
This is what happens. We tend to have certain biases. And these biases imply that we see certain groups more likely, more suited to perform a job. So, for example, I can give you a case that it happened to me, and I'm going to go into gender. I was working about 10 years ago with an entrepreneur. This individual had about 10 years work experience running a daycare. It was a daycare, 15 kids, was looking to grow the daycare, applied for a loan, was denied. Problem was a male caregiver. So we foresee people who provide childcare to be more likely female than male. If you see a situation in the mall where a kid is crying, ethnicity is not matching, older person happens to be a male, we grow suspicious. We see a kid crying on the mall, same different ethnicity, younger kid crying, we think that must be a nanny or the mother. So we have some biases.
Doctor, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Why, I often ask people when I feel their passion, how much they believe deeply in the work they're doing and the people they serve. I'm always curious, where does your passion for the scholarship, the research, the work that you do, particularly at Rutgers School of Business, where does that passion come from?
Before being a professor, I was a CFO for a $100 million R&D project, US, Mexico. The project was phenomenal. We needed to develop the technology. We needed to create things that they had never existed before. We were given one task. You do all the technology and don't forget for the nearby local communities. So how difficult can it be? We have world-class scientists, PhD people, and we were creating things that had never seen before. We failed on the social. So at that point, I asked myself, how come when we have all the resources at hand, all the knowledge, and even the mandate, we are not able to deliver? So at that point, I have a conversation with my wife. She was finishing her PhD at the time. Says, how do you feel if I quit my job and I go back to school? So quit my job and I ask, what do we do not know? Because if we know what we know, we can ask the question. But when we ignore what we don't know, we don't know what to ask. So went back to school and I start asking, how do we conceptualize businesses? How come sometimes we have problems with businesses? And the answer was simple, and that's how I became a professor at Rutgers. Most people see businesses as a tool of exploitation. So you create a business because you want to make money. So you extract money from communities. However, and this is one of the things that make different the Hispanic business and why it's allowing the Hispanic business to grow despite of. We see business as the opportunity to provide access to products and services. So when you create business to resolve problems, your business becomes strong. So that's what I became, and that's how I feel passionate. For me, creating business is the opportunity to make communities better by solving problems in exchange for resources.
This is personal for you.
Very personal.
We appreciate you joining us, Professor, and we look forward to continuing the conversation with you because we are not doing enough. I'll speak on behalf of our production company. We are not doing nearly enough to explore, to analyze, to make sense of issues disproportionately affecting the Hispanic community. Thank you, Professor.
No, thank you, Steve. I appreciate the opportunity.
You got it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
PSE&G is building the utility of the future, a future where people use less energy, and it's cleaner, safer, and delivered more reliably than ever. We are modernizing to lower emissions, support more renewables and electric vehicles, and reduce outages. And we are empowering our customers. At PSE&G, we are powering progress.
at the Community Food Bank of New Jersey.
We are working.
Now more than ever.
To fill the emptiness caused by hunger.
We are the state's largest anti-hunger organization.
And together with our 800+ community partners,
We are committed to delivering food,
Help.
and hope
to our hundreds and thousands of neighbors in need.
We're now joined by Rhonda Auguste, who is the founding executive director of an organization called the Wight the Wight Foundation. Rhonda, good to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Now, the Wight Foundation is named after Russell Wight.
Yes, Russell B. Wight Jr.
And what inspired Russell to create the foundation?
There was a news documentary in 1986 that was highlighting the challenges of Newark. At the time, he was residing in North Jersey. That's where his office is still in North Jersey, but he was residing here at that time. And he grew up at the Hill School in New Hampshire, in Pennsylvania. And he just said, maybe what if we give these young people a chance to be in an environment where they are away from all of the distractions. So the statistics were frightening back in '86, and he just wanted to make a difference for the city of Newark.
And I want to be clear, I believe that was a public television documentary that he saw.
It was, yes, it was.
Not that I want to always plug public broadcasting, but that's where he saw it. So exactly what does the foundation do? Who are the young people that are part of it?
Right.
And what does the foundation do for them that often has a great impact on their future?
So we recruit students in the 7th grade. Anyone within an hour of Newark is eligible. They have to be New Jersey residents. And we are recruiting them for our enrichment program, which starts at the end of their 7th grade year and goes through the entire 8th grade year. So that is a STEP, and actually the name of the program is called STEP, is an acronym for Scholars Training Enrichment Preparation. So we recruit students for our program STEP. And then from that group, from that cohort, we will select our future scholars. What we do is we place students in boarding schools. We only work with boarding schools, and they're all within a 5-hour car radius from Newark. And that's on purpose. We want to be able to have access to our students, and we want our families to have access, and we want our students to have access to home. So that's what we do. We provide opportunities to give students access to incredible private schools that are all boarding schools.
So Rhonda, for those who say, hey, wait a minute, isn't the foundation taking some of the most talented young people at a very young age out of the Newark public school system and giving them these opportunities? It's a wonderful thing. But aren't they, some would argue, aren't they hurting the public schools because some of the best and brightest are leaving?
I've heard that argument over the years.
How do you respond? What do you say to those folks?
Well, first, I'll just talk about the numbers. Our numbers are very small. I like to say we are a boutique operation. We average anywhere from 30 to 35 students each year. So that is a very minuscule percentage when you look at the numbers of students in the Newark public school system, for instance, right?
I think it's between 40 and 50,000, but in public schools, but go ahead.
Right.
So, charter schools.
Exactly. So we're talking 30 to 35 students. What I know rather, is that it creates an incentive. It creates an incentive for the students to work towards something. And we're very transparent. We understand that not everyone is made for boarding school, and boarding school is not for everyone. But when my colleagues go out into the field, they're educating, they're enlightening students about what are the possibilities in the world. And so we look at it as a positive, not a negative. But I also like to say that it's important for me as a director to make sure that my young people are grounded. So we have a community service component in our program. All of our students are required to complete at least 30 hours of community service each year in their local area. I have many students who would do 100, 200 hours plus. And in fact, one of those young women who did that, and she was, as a scholar, she worked so hard, extremely conscientious, always about community service. She was just elected in the last few years as the youngest school board member here in Newark. So the fact
Wait a minute, hold on.
Dorian Murray Thomas is a Wight Foundation alumna. I'm very proud to say.
1 second. Did you know, Rhonda, that we are part of the Dorian fan club?
Oh, I didn't know. I'm not surprised. Everyone should be.
Wow. She
Exactly.
was, yeah, she also ran for another office recently as
Right,
well.
Essex County Commissioner, and
Yeah.
she won for District 12. So
That's
we're
right,
very,
formerly
very
freeholder, now
proud.
commissioner. So wait a minute, she comes,
Yes, yes.
what a
came out-
superstar.
She
What
came
a
out
super-
of a charter school here in Newark,
That's
earned an
right.
opportunity to go to Northfield Mount Hermon School with our program. She went on to Swarthmore College. And while she was at Swarthmore, she earned, there's a special scholarship program they offer where they give their students $10,000 to invest into their local community. She earned that opportunity, and that's the money she used to start She Wins. So she's just an example of, I have so many alumni who have done incredible things here.
And by the way, check out her interview with Adorian, because She Wins, a great organization, was also recognized and honored. And we're very much tied to the Russell Berry Foundation Making a Difference Awards I've been honored to host for over 25 years. She won that award. She was a winner of that award for making a difference. I'm sorry, but it's funny.
No, that's important because she represents who we are as an organization, is giving a young person an access where, because of one decision, her mother said, you know what, I will have her go, actually take a step back. My colleagues went to the school, recruited students. She was one of the students in the audience, followed through. And now look at the ripple effect. Like, how many lives has she impacted from one decision? That's why what we do is huge.
And Adorian's a great example, because it's not like she did that, had that opportunity and said, let me go to the suburbs. Not that there's anything wrong with the suburbs, but her work is in the city of Newark. Her work is with young women in the city of Newark whose lives have been horrifically affected by violence. And she knows personally, she lost her father to violence. So before I let you go, success rate, real quick, I got a minute left. What's the success rate of the program?
I would say 100%. Our students who enter our school.
No, hold on. Nobody's 100%.
Okay, 95. I mean, here's the reality. The way we measure success is how many of our students actually, one, get accepted to the boarding schools, which that is 100%, because I place my students. So every student I have touched, I have worked with, who I have, like an Adorian, they've all received opportunities to go into boarding school. We're very proud of that, very proud of that. But on the other side of it, we have an incredible track record with graduations. I mean, our students graduate from these very elite boarding schools and go on to college. Not everyone goes on to college, but by far the majority go on to four-year colleges, for sure.
Rhonda, work well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Wish you and everyone at the foundation the best in helping young people like Adorian, who I'm just a huge fan of, make a difference. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. That's Rhonda. She's making a difference. We'll see you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 30 years in public broadcasting. Funding has been provided by the Fidelco Group, the New Jersey Education Association, PSEG Foundation, the Russell Berry Foundation, New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Holy Name, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Promotional support provided by CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and by bestofnj.com.
I'm Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Since joining the NJEDA, I've been struck by the incredible assets and resources that New Jersey has to offer. The NJEDA is working every day to grow New Jersey's economy in a way that maximizes the values of those assets to benefit every single New Jersey resident. This includes more support for small businesses and a focus on reclaiming New Jersey's position as a leader in the innovation economy. Visit njeda.com to learn more about how NJEDA is building a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy.
PSE&G is building the utility of the future. A future where people use less energy, and it's cleaner, safer, and delivered more reliably than ever. We are modernizing to lower emissions, support more renewables and electric vehicles, and reduce outages. And we are empowering our customers. At PSE&G, we are powering progress.
At the Community Food Bank of New Jersey.
We are working.
Now, more than ever.
To fill the emptiness caused by hunger.
We are the state's largest anti-hunger organization.
And together with our 800 plus community partners,
we are committed to delivering food,
Help.
And hope.
to our hundreds and thousands of neighbors in need.